Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Elevate Pole Pod. I'm your host, Charlotte Holstead, and today we're going to be talking to professional pole dancer, owner of Tribe Fitness and Dance Studio, and all round business badass, Lisette Krol. So, welcome.
Oh, thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy, so I'm really excited to chat with you today. We're going to be talking all about you.
And
Well,
about
she's getting
dogs.
her ear licked by one of the dogs. Um, so Lisette, just take a minute to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. What do you do? Where
And
are
like
you?
and all the fun. Okay, so I'm Lisette Krol. Okay, I live in Dublin. Well, actually, I live in Ireland. I live in Trim, actually. I'm originally from Venezuela, and I've been in Ireland for I think about 23 years, more or less. So a long time,
Wow.
half of my life, more or less. Oh, that makes me sound very old. Yeah, what else? Yeah, I own Tri Fitness and Studio, so I'm a instructor, main instructor of my business. I work a lot. I'm still like performing a lot and I'm still trying to train. I'm still trying to do a little bit of everything. I own two beautiful dogs. One is here, the other one
Oh.
ran away already to probably eat my shoes. But yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. So we're just going to start, let's take it back to the beginning. I want to know what first drew you to pole, because this is stuff actually I don't even know. We've been friends or, known each other for a long time now. But what first drew you to pole, and what did the early days look like when you found pole?
So when I came to Ireland, I was already a performer from. I used to work in a company in Venezuela called Theater Productions. That would be the translation, okay? And we used to do all these kind of like little theater pieces where for parties and for events where you have like a theme, like I don't know, like Cinderella, and we used to dress up as princesses or Spider-Man or something like that, and kind of like it's one of those companies that like I feel like that's like my school for theater. I used to like hang from ceilings and go like, upside down and things like that as Spider Woman or things like that. So I feel like that would be like my kind of main kind of background as an artist. And I was like, I think 18, 19. I wasn't that great, to be very honest. But like, hey, we learned a lot in that company. So it was really good. But unfortunately, things happened in my country that a lot of people had to leave. And I moved to Ireland. And like what happened in here was, I just start going to like I need jobs like so what can I do? I'm good at performing, so might as well just go to like a club. I was very lucky, okay, to find the gay scene. Like it has been like my queens, my moms, like they've been like my second best school ever. And then they just took me. They showed me eyelashes, Sally Hansen, like things like that, like and it just was like such an amazing environment. I just sort of like choreographies for the drag queens and like go-go dancing for them and things like that. And then we had like this thing called Gay Pride, and Terry was performing at it. Okay, she was performing pole, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful! This is so sexy and so fun!" And I was already like known in the gay scene, Terry as well. So we decided, "Oh my God, what about if we just like teach each other stuff?" I was already teaching acro yoga, like so acro balance, but without the yoga section. That is like dual partner stuff. And then like I said, like Terry was like teaching pole. I said, like, let's just like join forces, let's just teach each other. So I learned pole from Terry, like so I taught her acro, then we decided to do doubles. And I think I started pole in 2012 or 2011, 2012, and the first world championships were in 2013. So I learned kind of quick, okay.
Yeah.
It was like a year and a bit, and then we did the worlds and we were lucky enough to win it. But yeah, I already had a little background on other stuff like
Yeah.
theater, performing. I was a professional swimmer when I was younger. So I used to like train before school and after school and things like that. So I already had like good shoulders, okay, good
Yeah.
back, like, but actually, technically, I was more flexible than strong when I started.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's a very condensed.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know some of this actually. This is really, really interesting. So, obviously you started training with Terry, and I would say like the rest, as they say, is history because we all know you from that first World Championship, right? You guys came, stole the stage, and obviously won. And you were massively inspirational to so many people in the pole industry. But was there kind of a specific moment? Because it sounds like it all happened very quickly for you, but was there a specific moment that you can remember where you were like, this isn't just a hobby anymore? Like you say, you were already kind of working in the theatre side of things, but in terms of pole specifically, where you thought, okay, this is like going to be something now. But, I'm imagining after that you start getting workshop bookings and
Mm.
your name started getting known. Obviously, social media wasn't quite as present in our industry back then as it is now. So it wasn't as easy, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
So was there like a moment, like a light bulb where you thought, oh my God, this is actually going to be my job?
You know what? Like, I feel like that year, I'm sure for Terry it's the same, like from 2013 to 2014 and 15, like those 2 years, like, the first time we won the Worlds, we were like, what did just happen? Oh my God. We just came to that London place, like, hello, we're here to have fun. We don't know
Yeah,
what we're doing, but here we go. We're gonna try our best to get the lines in the Iron X. You can stand on it, like, and our aim wasn't even to win. We wanted
yeah,
just to meet people, like we just didn't know. I think none of us knew. Like, I think everybody that came that year, everybody was just like loving Paul for what it is. Okay. As you said, like it wasn't about social media at all. Like there was so much, I think, not that there's no heart now, but like there's so much excitement that day, like, like what it is, what this is, what are we gonna do? Like, and even seeing like for example, I remember that year Olga Trifonova was like swinging side to side. We were all
yeah.
like, is that a kid or an alien? Like, like it was like so many amazing moments, like from like those years that they were so beautiful because I had to say social media wasn't there. It was everything was real. We were touching people's
Yeah,
kids, like,
yeah, yeah,
and yeah, but I think like for those 2 years, it was really impressive to see how many people were like into doubles or into more like maybe even power tricks. Like we weren't like the normal kind of like what everybody was seeing, like there were these two girls lifting each other. You always see like the man lifting a girl, for example,
yeah,
or they were maybe kind of using more beautiful music. We were like like, doing all these dubstep things, like, so I think we were just having loads of fun, like,
yeah,
like loads of fun. Like we traveled the world already from the beginning. Like it was really hard for both of us because we were running our businesses at the same time. So Terry,
yeah,
of course, have Fierce, I have Tribe, and wherever we were going, we had to come back to like teach classes, and we still do that, by the way. It hasn't
yeah,
changed.
yeah. Nothing's changed.
It hasn't changed, but like, we were like, I mean, we were in our late 20s, kind of coming 30s, so everything was really like young. Now, of course,
Yeah,
there's different things that are happening. We're a bit older, like we get tired quicker, like,
yeah,
yeah, but like, and we have other things that we want to do as well. So, but it was very
yeah.
exciting, like very exciting.
Yeah, and it was exciting to watch, and I remember being there. I was actually there watching, I think, that year when you guys won in London. And I was actually doing doubles at the time as well, so I was hugely inspired by both of you. So who are your biggest influences? Like when you obviously you said, you're the production company you worked for, and then finding the gay scene when you came to Dublin and performing in that way. But in terms of pole influences, was there anyone specifically that you
Oh
kind of
yeah, of
watched
course. Oh my
or
God. I think, as you said, back in the day, we didn't have Instagram and Facebook, but we did have YouTube.
we did?
Okay, and then I remember loads of those nights until a.m. in the and I was yeah. Okay, so I think like back in the day, like our massive like kind of like way to kind of look at these pole dances were YouTube. And I was one of those that I used to like stay until 2 a.m. in the morning just watching Felix Kane, Saraja. Like Saraja as well was like a big influence for me because she was that strong woman with that tribal style. Of
Yeah.
course, Felix Kane and like even Enchanted as doubles. We used to watch them a lot.
Yeah.
They were from Australia.
Yeah.
We used to watch them a lot, and yeah, all these amazing pole dancers that they started, like, inspiring us. And actually, one person that I still use, okay, in my workshops, I do have a workshop called like, deadlifts and handsprings and stuff like that. And it was definitely like Evgeny, like, I remember watching him doing like the clock like this, and I just was watching his 8 pack and all the
Yeah.
muscles working. And then I was like, if this Russian man can do it, I can do it, of course. And I was like, and actually I do can do it. Like that is really amazing to kind of see that. And then if I see myself watching, like YouTube now and watching him and now, like doing it is pretty badass, pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so interesting. And it's interesting to hear the link with Zawara Judd as well, because obviously, you can see how you would be inspired by her in terms of, back then the tribal side, like the
Yeah.
strength side, obviously. Yeah, I remember watching her a lot too. So polls obviously evolved a lot over the time that you've been polling, the time that I've been polling. Um, how do you think your kind of style has changed and evolved over that time as well? I mean, I know what I kind of think from watching you, but do you think that your style's evolved?
Oh, a lot. Like, I sometimes I'm sure all pole dancers we go through watching our old videos and we go, oh my God, like, like
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like that. And as a I didn't have like a dance background or a gymnastic background. So a lot of the stuff I've been learning through the years, like things like hands or handstands, like, or like things that I definitely didn't had back then. And I think as well, I'm a little bit more careful about my body in some ways. Like, for example, crazy flips. Like I had lots of injuries, unfortunately, that I've been carrying them through to till now. And I think the way I see those injuries, they change me a little bit of the way I move. So for example, my strength on my arms are a little bit better because I cannot land on my knees very well now. I have a few little problems on my lower back, so maybe I use more my upper back. So I feel like if I have a little injury on my left side, I use my right. So I think
yeah,
like I've been kind of been more clever about things. I already have lots of experience on these kind of injuries and things like that. Even my students, when they kind of like come to my studio and they go, oh my God, I got injured. I'm going to have to stop pole. I'm like, you don't need to stop pole because I don't know, one little finger is broken. Maybe use your other side, maybe level down a little bit. Don't go too hard on yourself for now, but doesn't mean
yeah,
that you have to stop. Like,
yeah,
so definitely on the side of like lines and dancing and, being more fluid,
yeah.
it has evolved a lot. And definitely this is one big part that it has like changed a lot, like especially in the last few years, kind of like caring a little bit less. Okay. So I think back in the day, I used to be like watching my routines and almost crying if my foot wasn't here and wasn't there. Stupid. Like, like, and now I'm like, let's just dance and let's just be
Yeah,
whatever it is. Like, like I've been in so many performances that I'm definitely freestyling or I made my routine in the plane.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
and I think we all been there, like, and I think like I'm now in this kind of like part of my life where I just want to be on stage and have fun. And I have all this experience behind me that I can put together routines very quick and then
Yeah.
try to show a little bit of what I do. This is like what I want to give to you guys. So I think
Yeah.
that has evolved a lot, like,
I can massively relate to this actually, and not to put myself in your bracket, but in terms of just the relating to caring less, but not because I don't care, because I do. I still absolutely
yeah,
love pole as you do, but feeling like remembering it's for me too. So and it's also for sharing. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to poll because I love it, but and I want to share that passion with everybody. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. And I
yeah.
think it's kind of brought me back to the roots of why I started. Like same as
Mhm.
you, it sounds like when you started, it was for fun and it was because you're excited to learn. And I really wanted to get back to that because I think when you start focusing, so much, and when you're competing, it's slightly different because obviously you
Yeah.
do need to be like on point. But when you're then doing it, maybe just more performing and teaching, it's so much more than it necessarily being perfect. So I can hugely relate to that. So you just talked about your injuries as well. So I just want to talk a bit about like your personal challenges that you've faced throughout your pole journey, whether that's been mental or physical. So
Oh,
tell
wow.
us
So
about some
many.
of those.
So many. We'll be here the whole night. No, joking. Well, definitely, I guess like my two big injuries have been my two broken ACL on my knees. Okay, the first one happened in the third World Championship during it. Okay, when you were in there as well in was it Hong Kong, Beijing.
Oh yeah, Beijing,
Yeah,
yeah.
Beijing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, so many championships back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
yeah, it
many
happened
wins,
there. We
guys.
won at least. but that means that one less knee. So that definitely was like a, when that happened, I was like, my career is over. Like
Mhm.
the world is gonna end, okay? But of course it didn't, okay? Like I did a lot of rehab. That was 8 years ago. I wish I knew the stuff that I know now back in the day, because I definitely think my legs would be even stronger then. And then now my right leg, unfortunately, that happened like I think 2 years ago, a year and a half. And that was, I think, for me, a really sad moment because 2 months after I had like wake, okay, already. Like, so I had like, okay, do I cancel? What do I do? This is a very important show for me. What do I do? Like, and then of course Lisette, like little kind of fighter, decided to kind of put a program for herself, go to like all these amazing people that helped me put in a program together. And in 2 months, I was ready to do 17 shows back to back, in
Wow.
the air and on pole. But I remember going to the knee specialist, and he said like, yeah, well, you might be able to be okay in 6 months. And then I was like, I have two. And he just
Yeah.
started laughing, like, there's no way you can do it in two. I'm like, watch me. Like, and I remember
Yeah.
leaving the place, like, I'm gonna have to do this, like, so, but yeah, like, those injuries have taught me a lot, like, about, like, you know, there's a lot more in there that you can do. The world is not gonna end,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can work around your injuries. You just have to maybe swap a little bit your routine, work a little bit harder on rehab, like, finding ways to do it, like, like, but
Yeah.
definitely stopping hasn't been part of my list. So,
No, no.
so
And it makes you realize as well, I think, from what you're saying, you know that you're a strong woman,
yeah,
physically, but also mentally. You've been through a lot, like, in your life, even from the early days, talking about having to leave your home country and relocate, start a new life, start a new, career. But it shows you how resilient you are mentally as well. So I think, it's good for us in some ways, although challenging at the
yeah. I
same
think I think
time.
pole dancers, I mean, and I think dancers in general and athletes, like, we don't really like to hear you need to have a break and stop. We unfortunately we don't like that, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes we have to do it, and I get it, like, I took 1 week break and everybody was laughing, okay, and I was like, you're supposed to take months, like, but and then I think a lot of us, we love what we do so much, and this is not only, as you said, it's not a hobby anymore. It's like our job, like,
Yeah.
it's like we worked so hard all these years to make this work for us, to have our name out there, like, and a little knee is not gonna stop us just from that. You have the other knee. Sorry, the dogs are definitely gonna. The postman. Oh, no
Oh.
one saw it. They were sleeping. They're still sleeping. Okay. So yeah, so yeah, that's, I forgot where I was going.
Well, yeah, like you say, we've worked so hard and this is our job. So I think we have to find, like when there's a will, there's a way kind of
Exactly.
mentality and still in a safe and kind of educated
But
environment,
exactly
like
as
you
you said,
say.
educating is not like, that's why I always been very careful with what I say on social media. You should be doing this. No, no, no. I would never tell you what to do. This
Yeah.
is what I'm putting through. I mean, my body, I'm putting through all this, and this is my body. And then I did study, trust me, I studied so much about knee injuries that you can imagine, like things like knowing like ski jumpers, all those things that you see like on TV, the majority of them have no ACL, or even NFL people have like they're still playing with no ACL. So it took me like a long time to know what I wanted to do, like, but yeah, a lot of study, there's a lot of research behind this, like, so
Yeah, yeah, and you're getting professional help as well because I
yeah.
know that you work with a PT and I think Neil's quite like
Oh,
knowledgeable in the
oh, he
body and
knows so
stuff like
much. Yeah.
that. So yeah, so I think getting that extra help as well when we need it, so we can focus on what we want to do and
Mm.
like you say, continuing to enjoy it and continuing to work. So let's move on to Tribe. Tribe is a huge, huge part of your life. This is Lisette's studio. I'm sure everybody knows this anyway. It's one of the most biggest respected studios in Dublin. So, what inspired you to open it, other than just loving pole?
Oh wow. Okay, so I actually started like I think like all of us, we kind of like started renting a little room, okay, and then putting the poles up, taking the poles
Yeah,
down every day, like, and I started like that in, like, I remember I was in Blanchardstown, that it was like a place in Dublin, like, And then it just was busy, like, and then I was like, wow, this is great. Then I was teaching acrobalance in like a dance studio, okay? And
Yeah.
it's going really well, but I still have to pay the rent of like 1 hour rent to a place. And then I was teaching flexibility and I was just like going like this, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I was like, okay, the classes are doing well. I'm building this little community. It's going really well. So I found this like horrible place. It was horrible. Like, the electricity wasn't working. Place was disgusting. Like, like I was like cleaning, to try to make it as beautiful as, but it was in Dublin. It worked. This is what we have. Back in the day, there were no circus schools. There were not many pole schools. Okay. So it was like Dublin needed a place for people to kind of gather together,
Yeah.
and then just go upside down. And I was already doing hoop as well. So I was already performing in clubs, like hanging on one knee. I didn't even know what I was doing back then. But yeah, so I said, okay, let's just research, make like a plan of how we can instructor these classes, like how I can make like maybe Mondays pole, Wednesdays hoop or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have that little place that it had like 5 poles or whatever. It got very busy. The community was growing. There was a little door on the side. Like, I was like, okay, let's make this bigger. Okay. And then they closed us in October. No, November. They told us you need to move. You have 1 month to move. Okay. And I'm sure everywhere, every kind of pole studio owner have gone through something like this. Or if you haven't, well done, because it's so stressful, like, and I remember, oh my god, my life is gonna end again, like, and then I found this amazing place, where I am right now. It was like 4 times more the rent that I pay in the other place. And I remember Neil and me, we were looking at the place, and then Neil was already, well, thank you so much, I'm like looking at the ceilings, 4 meters, having all these like ideas, and Neil is probably pulling me like this, like, don't do it, don't do it. And I'm like, it's perfect, like looking at this, like, wow, it's perfect. And he's like, we cannot afford it. I'm like, okay, I think we can afford it, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, we can't. I think we can. Like, So we put a lot of our savings, poor Neil, the stuff I had to do with me.
Oh,
Yeah, so we put all our savings, and then we were very lucky. Like after 3 months, we got the savings back.
yeah.
So the
Wow.
thing was amazing. We did a lot of the stuff ourselves, like even putting the floors, like putting the poles, painting the place. Like we had a lot of friends and family helping us as well. Like, and then yeah, it just became like a massive success. Yeah, straight away people were in. We did had a lot of problems with like things like heating and things like that, and
Yeah.
don't know, things that everybody probably have through the years. And then every year we wanted to put something more new and things like that. So now it's a seriously paradise to me. Like, it's
Yeah.
beautiful, has so much space. We have 17 poles, have 10
Wow.
hoops. Yeah, we have 4 floors. Cleaning is not fun,
No.
just gonna say.
No.
But yeah, like the community that we have built has been amazing. We just ran our showcase this weekend. We had like 60 acts, okay, and then
Wow.
350 people came to watch the show. And I remember when I finished performing, I was like,
Yeah.
and not even from my show, was from the whole year
Yeah.
of
The build up.
build
Yeah.
up to it. And I just wanted to cry. I was like, oh my God, it's over, and it went well, and everybody's
Yeah.
happy, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So, how do you think you've created the community that Tribe's so like well known for? Is there something, is there like a secret sauce? Is it just you because you're just amazing? Like, and you are,
No,
like,
no.
I don't, but your energy is infectious. You really are passionate about what you do. And I think that really, you can kind of inject that into other people as well. But is there anything else that you
You know
kind of
what? I
think?
feel like being human, like a real human being, like, be okay to not be perfect, be okay to crack a few jokes every now and then, like, like they, of course, and even they tell me, like, oh my God, like, you are amazing at this, you're amazing at that. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm still here being human. Let's have a chat. Like, like sometimes, like, my privates end up being like a therapist private instead of
Yeah.
like, and I'm sure we all go through this. And I have to say, I do have an amazing team. Like, my instructors are amazing. Like, some of them, like, I mean, they are amazing at what they do, like as aerialists and as pole dancers. But like, I always pick instructors because they're really good souls. And I think like everybody in Tribe, they know this. Like,
Yeah.
they know how to treat people. They know kind of like that it's not only about teaching this trick. There's a bit more about it. Like, we have systems in Tribe. Like, we're very open with some stuff, but we do have like every other studio rules and things like that. We try to make it as accessible to people. And I think as well, like the fact that like Dublin is such a like cultural place. We have people from all around the world. Like, we
Yeah.
are very like inclusive. We're really welcoming. Like, I'm not from Ireland, of course. Like, so I know that everybody that comes and move to another country, they need a place to find people, to find
Yeah.
friends. And then even they gave me these little cards, okay, like after the showcase. And actually, all of them were saying that, like, you cannot imagine how much this means to me. And I was like, oh my God, So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
really, I think Paul's studio owners, they don't know how, I mean, I'm sure they know, but we are really making something very beautiful to people. Like, this is like a safe place for them, like,
Yeah.
So I, more than teaching a handspring, it's a lot more
Yes.
around it, like,
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's that emotional connection, like you say, and creating that safe space for people. And you've clearly like absolutely nailed it,
And I
and
think
just
having
goes to
Neil,
show.
sorry, just in case Neil listens to this, but I'm sure he won't, like, but
I'm
having
gonna send
like
it
a
to
tribe
Neil.
daddy like Neil, like, it's
Yeah.
very important. Like, some kind of like, I remember one time this stray man came like to the studio and we welcome everybody, okay? But you knew he was coming here for not that reason, like, for blaring Paul. And Neil straight away, I need to defend my girls, like, like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this. And it's like blocked from the system. I was like, so
Oh,
yeah.
love him. Well, that's so sweet. And he's actually, as you're talking about Neil, he's a new addition to the team.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
kind of always
He
been
had no
there, but
choice.
he's yeah, he had no choice. So you've just got him more involved
Yeah.
in the studio. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like
Yeah,
what
well, unfortunately, well, not fortunately, but we unfortunately had like a massive rent increase in September. We almost closed Tribe, but it was very sad. I was so depressed for months, kind of like thinking what I'm gonna do if I had to make that decision of closing or keep it opening, because it's a lot of money, like, and I hate that our art has to be involved with money, but
yeah,
unfortunately it is, like,
yeah,
and we do have to make money to pay the rent and then to pay
yeah,
ourselves and things like that. But Neil decided to be very helpful, okay, and be more involved about, like, for example, helping me with accounting, like, admin, very funnily, and very amazing, being in reception. So you imagine the beginners coming in like, welcome to Tribe. I seriously is amazing. He has kept people, okay, just because he's so good at like chatting and talking. And then like he's just so welcoming. He seriously has been amazing. Like, so I seriously can't complain. I'm very lucky to have him.
yeah.
And I think everybody see him like he's just he has this Irish humor as well that is amazing. Like, so it makes everybody happy. So yeah,
Oh,
he's
that's
great.
so awesome. And it's so nice to see actually, because I think, like you say, it all comes from, all of our studios, or it comes from the passion for what we do. And we like, the teaching, we like creating the safe space, but being able to have someone to lean on, and
Yeah.
help you in that way is so good. So I think that's really lovely. So we are going to talk a little bit now about Wake. So Wake is a show that you are part of.
Mhm.
And so talk to us about that. Tell us about like what you're doing in the show, what the show's about. I think there's some exciting stuff coming up in the new
Yeah, it's
year. So
very
tell us about
exciting.
that.
So
Yeah.
Wake is like for me my favorite show in the whole world. So yeah, I really love the show. I love the cast in it. Like we're like a family, and I remember the first time I auditioned for it, I had no clue what I was in it. Like, I don't know even the show what it's about. They just contact me. They saw me in a TV show in The Big Deal. They heard about me from the gay scene because the show is, of course, very gay friendly. And then I was like, okay, I auditioned for it. I'm going to audition because it's an arts council kind of like funded like a theater piece, a kind of show. So I'm gonna do my flying pole routine, very well covered. I'm gonna cover my butt, like, and then do like a contemporary piece. And they loved it. They were like, "Wow, it's amazing! Flying pole is so beautiful. What else do you have?" And I was like, well, actually, my main thing is pole. Okay. Is there anything like you can do very sexy? I'm like, oh yes, like, Okay, so I'm gonna give you a track, and then we see you tomorrow. Make something out of this. And I was like, tomorrow? Jesus. Okay. Okay. Perfect. See you tomorrow. So I said, okay. I went tomorrow. I brought my heels. I did all these heels clap that you have, some of you guys have seen me doing, like power moves, like drops, like dancing and stuff like that. And they were like, that's what we want for one of the main acts. And I was like, I was with a thong and all, like, I was like, this is arts council, like, and I was like, really? Okay then, like, so they were so open about the ideas of bringing like sexiness and like craziness out there, like, and we made the entire, like, especially my solo act, like, we made it from scratch. Like I performed with a girl in a violin that she's amazing, so beautiful. Alma made my music from scratch, like, and then really listening to the ideas of the directors and me. And what I really love about the show, I never had this before, was someone to like direct me and helping bringing like a show to the next level. So we have these amazing lights and things like that. Like the entire concept of the show, it's about their idea, kind of like with my ideas, like So they're just so amazing to work. I do another little kind of like solo duet act, so another big act, sorry, with another aerialist called Jenny or Ashlyn, whoever is available, and it's amazing to be able to like perform with them. Like we raise the equipment 5 meters high, and then we come back down, so it's very
Wow.
exciting. We have to dance, we have to like sing, we have to do everything, like so, and we're kind of like behind the scenes, we're helping someone else put in a costume very quick, so it's very exciting to be part of a show like this. And as I said, the cast for me just really made everything.
And is there a story? Like, is there a core theme or message behind the show itself?
Yeah, so the wake is about, well, not sure if this really makes sense, but it's about a funeral. It's about like the celebration of life in Ireland. Like if you go to a funeral, it's like a big party. Like, I'm sure, I think in
Yeah.
UK it's the same. It's like a big party. You see like people drinking and talking about that person that passed away. And then wake, it goes through all the different emotions of what you feel when someone passed away. So like you go from sadness to remembering those happy moments and laughing, like, and actually even the end of the show, kind of at the end, I shouldn't say it, but like we all sing Raglan Road, that is like a very beautiful kind of like song in Ireland that you hear when you go to a pub in Ireland and everybody gathers together and they sing that song. And then it's kind of like the end of the night when you have a hangover. And then so it's a very like, what are you doing in the show? I think they didn't know what to do with me, so they just put me in. So I'm
That's
supposed to
great.
be kind of like the sexy devil in my solo act, but anyway, it's like a big variety kind of like show. We have like a guy doing like kind of like ass tassels and doing tap dancing. We have like Irish
Brilliant.
dancers with big balloons on their heads. So it is a bit mental, but it's a really well put together show. So it's a
Yeah.
mental, well put together show. So
And in terms of the audience then, so I know you've obviously performed to loads and loads of audiences in the time, but how does it kind of differ performing in that environment in front of an audience? What's their response been? Has there been any surprises for you, that's
you know what? Well, I mean, as I was gonna say, like it's very exciting because the show is doing so well that we're touring around the world. Uh, So it's very exciting because now Wake is touring around the world in January. That doesn't give me that much kind of like rest time, but we're going to Australia.
yeah.
We're doing, I think it's 20, no, we're doing 16 shows in Australia. That is very exciting. It was
Wow.
funded by Culture Ireland, so very, very exciting. But one thing that it was really exciting for me was when we performed in London, in Manchester, in the last kind of like touring show we had, appear in the newspaper, like about our
Mhm.
show, and then like how amazing was the show, and then I love like seeing, and I was not expecting to say this, but like the pole dancer was like power in a G string, like and that was actually like the title of it, and I was like, so I really, and what she made on stage was art, and I was like, that's all I
Yeah.
wanted to hear. Like, it was
Yeah.
like, for me, like, I worked so hard, and I'm sure all of us have worked so hard to make sure that Paul, in whatever way, okay, is seen as art. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not only with a skirt, I'm in heels, in a thong,
Yeah.
creating an art
Yeah.
piece, like, like, and it's amazing to see that sexiness and power and things like that is seen as art. Because like,
Yeah.
actually, if you see the show, it's very artistic show. So
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And you should be, and I'm sure you are, but very proud. That's like career complete.
yeah,
Tick.
exactly. Yeah, take next.
I just want your tagline on Instagram now to be Lisette Krol, power in a G-string.
Power in a, I actually made a song, Power in a G string. Power in a
I love that. That's so cool. So Wake's obviously evolving. You're touring with it. I'm sure there's loads to come with that, and it really is amazing. And what you're doing for our entire community is incredible. And I'm sure this it's not just me saying this, but we're very grateful because sharing that art in such a wide to a wider audience is absolutely amazing. Because like you said, I think for all of us, it's wanting to share pole as
Yeah,
art.
I do feel like now more of us are the more these theater companies and the more these shows they see like the pole dancers can bring something very beautiful without changing too much of how we are. Because
Yeah,
I feel like back in the day, as I said, like I went to this show as I auditioned with like my ass cover and like,
yeah,
and like maybe a little bit more contemporary. Not that that's wrong or bad, like, but I did feel like a moment I was like, oh, I'm kind of changing a little bit of what I am, like,
yeah,
and it's not like really what I want to show as an artist, like, and I think like people can see like being like sexy, it's okay, like, there's nothing wrong with it, like, it's actually
yeah,
very beautiful to watch. Like how
yeah.
many times I've seen like me watching Doris Arnold and I'm just like this, like, or like all these like
Yeah,
beautiful sexy pole dancers, and we see more than just like, you know, what people think about Paul. We see like, wow, look at her beautiful way of movement, like how that make
yeah,
make us feel, like,
yeah,
so
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's really amazing. Well, I know you are a very, very busy person, so I'm just going to finish up with just a couple of questions about like the personal journey, vision, future. So you've obviously achieved so much, like you said, you've basically career completed. With
I feel
everything
like
that
there's
you're
a
you're
lot more to do.
you're doing. Yeah. So what still drives you right now then? Because obviously you've done the competitions. You're obviously loving performing in this theatre production. Business wise, again absolutely nailing it. I know that's never. I mean that's a forever thing I think with business. But what drives you right now?
You know what? Like, I feel like, of course, Neil and me, we would love to have a family. So hopefully this year things happen. If not, we're going to continue trying. We're having fun
Yeah.
doing that anyway. So, uh, but no, I feel like, you know what? Like, not my dream, but what I would like to be, and I'm sure this is every human in the world, it's like to be less stressed. Like,
Yeah.
to hopefully make sure that my business is going like, okay, we're
Yeah.
navigating. Okay, shows are navigating. Everything is navigating. I know this is never going to happen. You need to be ready for something is going to explode. Like, but yeah, I think like we're just keep living. Like,
Yeah.
I do have like, I mean, I would love to continue performing. I would love to have a family, but we don't know when these things are going to happen. So
No.
it's not something that you can really plan like this. Like,
No.
I definitely would like to travel a tiny bit less than what I did last year. That was a bit
Yeah.
mental. And then travel to places where I feel that they're worth it. Not that all the places are not worth it, but like I know you know this, but when you leave home, it needs to be worth it. Like, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that you're leaving behind, like your dogs, like your husband, your
Yeah.
tribe, like, your family, friends. And then like to leave is exciting. But like when you go to another place, if there's no, sometimes it's not as worth it as we think. So, and it has happened to me before, unfortunately, like, so I think this year I would just want to be a bit more organized in that
More
sense.
strategic with the bookings that you're taking and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like you say, things, potentially evolving for you. So you can't I think everything is like you can figure it out when you get there
Yeah.
and we're solution people. That's why we
Yeah.
thrive off running businesses and
Yes.
doing all of this stuff. So we figure it out along the way. So lastly then, just to finish, what advice would you give to a pole dancer who wants to turn their passion into a long-term career like you have?
Wow. Okay. You know how many times they ask me this and I can never answer it right, So, okay. So I feel like, okay, first, don't let anyone bring you down. Okay. There's going to be loads of people saying you are not good enough. you would never be able to do this. And even when I started, I got told that a few times, okay? And it's kind of nice that you don't listen to these people. I remember the first time I got told like you will never get a handspring because you're too big. I got told that before when I started pole dancing, and now I do a handspring with the little finger, like
Yeah.
So like I
Your
think like
middle finger.
with the little finger, yeah, yeah. So I think like the most important thing is really believing in yourself. Like this sounds like a bit like Miss Universe, peace and love, but kind of thing. But like just really don't be mean to other people, because like if you help others, they help you. Like
Yeah.
be okay to like give and receive, kind of feel like friends. We're giving and receiving is giving. And I think like, and of course train hard, like and you know there's a lot of work. Trust me, it's not gonna be easy, and then no one has gone through an easy path. Like when people tell me you are very lucky because you have this, I'm like, trust me, it hasn't been
Yeah.
like that. It hasn't been a very easy ride. Like we've all been through like things like losing family members, not having passport, not having visas, almost losing in our businesses, kind of taking care of our parents. Like like nothing has
Yeah.
been easy. So be okay to kind of say, okay, it's not easy, but I'm gonna continue fighting and things like that. So I probably,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's I think that's my best advice. Yeah. Just keep working
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, keep working hard. Thank you so much.
No,
It's
thanks for
been an
having me.
absolute joy to teach you, to talk
To
to you
teach,
today.
to teach. Lily, do you want to say
Um,
bye, Mac? Mac,
oh, the
come
doggies
on,
are saying
come on. There
bye.
they are. These are my babies. This is
Oh,
one, and then this is the other one. There we are.
oh,
Oh, perfect. Look, that's a
oh,
picture there. That's a picture there. But thanks for having us. They were sleeping
oh, thank
again.
you so much. And yes, will speak to you very soon. Thanks so much, Lisette.
Thank you. Well, we see you soon.
Bye.